You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
In these times, we have to unify. Acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America.
Pipe bomb is being mailed to the Clintons, Obamas, Biden, De Niro, and CNN. Who sent them, and is our political discourse to blame? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the pipe bomb threats in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. We are less than 2 weeks away from the midterm elections, and one of the most controversial amendments on the Florida ballot is a move to expand Florida's ban on smoking at indoor workplaces, and including electronic cigarettes and vaping. The measure is facing criticism because of the process used by the Florida Constitution Revision Commission to put Amendment 9 on the November 6th ballot. Rather than allowing vaping ban to stand on its own, the commission coupled it with a proposed ban on offshore drilling in Florida waters.
It's not just a green issue. It's affecting everybody across the board. And if we allow such a illogical risk to our way of life, it could ruin it. We all were here with the BP oil spill and we saw those impacts. Why are we going to even attempt to let another one of those happen so close to home?
The Florida Supreme Court has said the Constitution Revision Commission followed the rules, but the decision to combine the proposals might turn some voters against what individually could be popular ideas. If you have some unwanted or expired medications, you can get rid of them safely this weekend. The Sarasota Police Department and Sarasota County Sheriff's Office are taking part in National Drug Take-Back Day. On Saturday from 10 to 2, you can drop off pills for disposal at the front lobby of SPD or at the Sheriff's Office headquarters. You can also drop them off at the Sarasota Memorial Hospital.
Prescription medications are commonly misused or abused, so it then erases any opportunity for family members or friends to get into those medications as well. And lastly, having a large amount of prescriptions in your home at really any time can then make your home kind of a target for theft or criminal activities.
Venice police are also participating in the National Take Back event. You can take any unwanted prescription medication to the lobby of the police station on Saturday from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. Vice President Mike Pence surveyed the damage done by Hurricane Michael in Panama City today. During his visit, he said Tyndall Air Force Base will be rebuilt. Older buildings on the base were demolished while newer structures are in need of repair. Senator Bill Nelson, who sits on the Senate Armed Forces Committee, fears Tyndall will close are, in his opinion, unfounded. Pence says Tyndall is a strategic location for its training missions. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Well, some showers, something we haven't seen in a while. Expected to be moving in over the next hour or so. A few showers are possible this evening in advance of a pretty strong cold front that's going to cool us down for the weekend. We're looking for a nice cool weekend after we get a few showers, and a few isolated thunderstorms are possible Friday, I think mainly in the afternoon and evening as the front gets closer to us. And then the weekend will be much cooler. You'll notice it especially on Sunday morning when temperatures will drop down into the upper 50s to low 60s to start things off on Sunday. So that'll be quite a nice change there. As far as that rainfall goes, you can see it is approaching now Longboat Key. A little bit of rainfall near Venice and Nokomis, heavier storms offshore. These have really just kind of popped up and developed out ahead of this line just within the last half hour. They're moving pretty quickly off to the east. It's not a lot of rough weather. There's some heavier showers offshore there, light to moderate precipitation out ahead of it. You can see it's still about 5 miles or so west of Longboat Key. Some light rain now, very thin line near Osprey. Here's the forecast. If it continues on this course off to the east-northeast at 15, some areas that may get some rain. With the timing there, Longboat Key in just a few minutes, and then Bradenton right around 7:55, 8:13, and Lakewood Ranch, if it holds together, and some of it will, so we'll look for that to continue on off to the east. We shouldn't see a lot of rainfall tonight, but we will see some occasionally. We have some clouds around 79. It will be warm. It will be muggy overnight, too, with a high dew point temperature out ahead of the front. Winds out of the southwest at 6. Now, with our ABC7 weather app, you can track our storms as they make their way onshore tomorrow afternoon and evening, especially with the possibility of some thunderstorms. Not looking to see anything severe. You can track them with our First Alert weather app if you're not by a television screen. And just go to your app store and look up WWSB First Alert Weather and have that at your fingertips. Alan?
Bob, thank you. More suspicious devices discovered. Former Vice President Joe Biden and actor Robert De Niro, the new targets. ABC's Maggie Woolley has more.
The nation remains on alert.
Very scary stuff, and we were hoping last night it was over. It wasn't.
As today authorities confirmed they found more packages containing pipe bomb-like devices.
It's absolutely terrorism because it's an effort to use violence to make a political impact. That's the definition of terrorism.
One addressed to actor Robert De Niro in his workspace in Manhattan. Two others addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden were intercepted at post offices in Delaware.
We have over 600,000 postal employees out there right now, so we have their eyes and ears looking for these packages.
Police say these are the latest in a string of similar packages sent to nearly a dozen other targets, including former President Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and former CIA Director John Brennan at CNN's New York headquarters.
The similarities are striking. The same structure on each of the device, the same packaging, the same names.
The FBI releasing these images of the homemade devices packed with glass as potential shrapnel. And sources say each package contained a digital clock, explosive powder, a battery as a power source, and wiring to channel a spark for detonation.
I can say with certainty that we will identify and arrest a person or people responsible for these acts.
Authorities warned that with no suspect in custody, this may not be over yet, and have even warned some prominent figures, including former President Jimmy Carter, to be on alert. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
In times like these, we go to the best. The Suncoast's most articulate conservative crusader and the Democrats' most eloquent champion at your trapezoid.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Tanya, come here.
Learning the right steps.
2, 3, 4.
Or making contact. It's not just about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen who enters our doors has what it takes. Great futures start here.
Christmas Traditions by LuxArt Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by LuxArt Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
Be a Heart Walk hero. I'm Scott Dennis. Join ABC7 and the American Heart Association for the 2018 Suncoast Heart Walk. It's Saturday, November 10th at J.D. Hamill Park. Walk with us to help raise funds to fight heart disease and stroke. Your support will help us advance life-saving breakthroughs that will keep more hearts beating. We can't save lives without your help. Register for free and walk with us to have fun and help hearts. For more information, visit suncoastheartwalk.org.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real. You can recover. It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help. The world is a beautiful place again. Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Donate today to the Hurricane Michael Relief and Disaster Fund.
Welcome back. People are going to get hurt. People already have been. Congressman Steve Scalise was gunned down and almost killed last year on the ball field by a deranged follower of Bernie Sanders. But now up to 10 explosive devices sent to the homes of former Presidents Clinton and Obama and former Vice President Joe Biden, actor Robert De Niro. And the question, also CNN, what role, if any, is President Trump's constant bashing of political opponents and the media having on an increasingly volatile environment? And joining us for more are Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. Thank you both for joining us today. And I'm going to set this up by Sarah Huckabee Sanders' response to that very question outside the White House today.
Packages to someone no more than Bernie Sanders was responsible for a supporter of his shooting up a Republican baseball field practice last year. The idea that this is at the hands of the president is absolutely ridiculous.
So, Rod, that's the question to you. I think the difference is I don't recall Bernie Sanders saying the kind of things against Republicans that the president says against Democrats or the media. Bernie Sanders, correct me if I'm wrong, he's a pretty policy-oriented guy.
Yeah, I think, though, that it's essentially right because other than the time when Trump said, you know, I'll pay for your legal fees to the one guy, which was stupid and out of line, he hasn't said go out and hurt people. He hasn't been calling for violence. He hasn't been calling for bombings or shootings or anything. Neither did Bernie. Now, I want to say that because I think that this is a consistency that's really important. I said on your show that Bernie Sanders had nothing to do with that. He had no responsibility. That's the individual. The guy that speared Rand Paul in the back in his yard and broke his ribs and punctured his lungs, who was a big Hillary Clinton supporter. That is not on Hillary Clinton at all. But it's not on Hillary Clinton. It's on him, his personal responsibility. And Trump's rhetoric is different for an American president, it's true, but individuals going out and acting and doing violent things based on political rhetoric is on the individual, not on the politicians.
Yeah, the ultimate responsibility, I do believe, is on the individual as well. And I think there's a big difference between some psycho who is out there sending off package bombs to anyone, for that matter. It could be Ted Kaczynski. That's them. But the political rhetoric that we hear, especially coming from the president, does go over the line when he recognizes that he applauds somebody who can body slam a reporter and gives him respect for that. That doesn't help. So what he's responsible for is the attitude and the rhetoric that we have amongst ourselves these days. He's not without responsibility, but I agree, he's not responsible for that.
Actually, before you do, let's take a look at what the president said about the body slamming incident.
But Greg is smart. And by the way, never wrestle him. You understand that? Never. Any guy that can do a body slam, he's my kind of... He's my guy. I had heard that he body slammed a reporter. And he was way up. And I said, oh, this was like the day of the election or just before. And I said, oh, this is terrible. He's going to lose the election. Then I said, well, wait a minute. I know Montana pretty well. I think it might help him. And it did.
Republicans have been talking about the angry mobs of the Democrats for weeks. But there you have the crowd there celebrating what the president's talking about, a congressional candidate body slamming another individual, whether they're a reporter or not.
Right. And so I'm just going to be honest with you. I just saw it as Trump on the stump out there doing his reality TV entertainment speech. This is part of who he is as president. We got to recognize that when he goes out and does these things, he is part of his stuff. A big part of his thing is entertainment value. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was funny, but I also condemned it when the guy did it. I thought maybe he should lose. I mean, this was wildly irresponsible and uncontrolled physical behavior. You can't do that. And you can't accept it. This was a joke.
Really bad time to take a break, but we have to. Our conversation on the pipe bomb threats continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bye.
Good time to take a look at the weather right now. We have some showers moving in. The Holmes Beach webcam showing some of that rainfall. You can see it moving in from the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing to worry about in terms of lightning right now, but we have some showers and may disrupt your evening plans along the area beaches. And Right now, that rain is ever so close to Holmes Beach right now, and a few isolated storms inland. We'll get to the storm system that is going to bring us a change for our weekend weather plans, and that's a big deal for a lot of folks who have plans. I know we have Oktoberfest taking place over the weekend in downtown Sarasota. You can see this area of low pressure near New Orleans. This is going to push off basically to the east and northeast. I think if we see any strong thunderstorms, it'll be over the panhandle of Florida, unfortunately, where they're doing the cleanup still from Hurricane Michael, and some rain and storms possible through Georgia. But we're going to see some thunderstorms here possibly. That chance at 20%. We're going to see rain definitely. That chance is fairly high for us tomorrow. Periodically throughout the day. We have the front way back here. This is at 4 a.m. on Friday. That's the cold front, and then the prefrontal trough moving through just around sunrise. So a few showers, a few clouds possible in the morning on Friday, and then a little bit better chance for early evening showers and a few thunderstorms as the actual cold front makes its way through on into later on in the afternoon and evening. Now, as far as the Titan radar picture goes, quite a bit of rainfall now moving through the panhandle of Florida and into Georgia, and you can see that line of showers approaching the Suncoast. We'll take a closer look at that. You can see that rain is not all that heavy, but it's just offshore and now moving onshore very quickly into Longboat Key, Anna Maria Island. Some light to moderate precipitation there. It's moving to the east at around 15 miles an hour, and you can see some other storms offshore. We'll get rid of some of the light rain and show you the moderate rainfall now, as I mentioned, just offshore of Holmes Beach, and also one lone shower has developed just east of I-75. Not much going on near Siesta at this time, and you can see the rain is getting close to Longboat Key. Will it hold together all the way inland? It's unlikely, but tomorrow a different story. Some showers around in the morning, and then we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day. A better chance for showers and storms coming in later in the evening, I should say, later in the afternoon and early evening, with the possibility of some heavier rain there as the actual cold front pushes through. And it's going to take a while for the clouds to clear on Saturday morning, so we'll have some showers possible on Saturday morning. Well, in the tropics, it's not quite over yet. We are watching this area of disturbed weather way out here in the Atlantic. This is expected to move off to the north. It has a real good chance of developing, then moving off toward the west, and then eventually staying out in the open waters of the Atlantic. Well, it's back on this date, back in 1921, the last time a major hurricane hit into Pinellas County and Tampa. Had a 10 to 12 foot storm surge, and again late in October. It seems like that is when the west coast of Florida has the better chances of getting hit here. In 1944, we were hit with a Category 2 hurricane right into Sarasota. Well, the Futurecast, the GFS, showing this cold front making its way through, and then another reinforcing shot of some cooler air comes through on late Monday and into Tuesday. And so we're getting into this pattern that we're going to see a series of cold fronts move through. This one coming through not this weekend, but next weekend. A good chance for showers and storms as well as the system moves on through and cools things down. Currently, it's 79 degrees. We have sunshine or clear skies right now, but clouds are starting to increase on into Longboat Key and Anna Maria Island. For boaters tomorrow, gets a little bit rough going out there. Seas running 3 to 5 feet and choppy conditions out on the waters. Small craft advisories more than likely issued for coastal waters. The rain chance at 60% tomorrow. A few thunderstorms possible later on in the evening on Friday. A morning shower possible on Saturday. We'll start to see some clearing, but look at the cooler temperatures. 60 degrees on Sunday morning. We could even see some upper 50s. And as I mentioned, on Saturday we have, again, an event taking place, Oktoberfest, 10 o'clock in the morning, both Saturday and Sunday. And the weather looks to be a lot better on Sunday, but not too bad on Saturday. We'll be right back after this.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gatto's got it.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
My
My grandpa was always telling me about it.
But the civil rights thing happened like a million years ago.
Still, he thought it was important that I know what it was like.
So we followed the civil rights trail to Alabama. We saw Dr. King's church,
the bridge in Selma, the church in Birmingham, and I finally knew what he was talking about.
Some things you just have to experience for yourself.
Start your civil rights journey at alabama.travel.
Know your land, know your prey.
What are we doing?
Saturdays at 5:30 and Sundays at 2 on the ABC7 live stream.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
We are talking about the increasingly dangerous political climate, and joining us for more are Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. And Susan, before we took the break, there was a point you wanted to make.
Well, I just wanted to say that, you know, we're now hearing it from the Democrats, where before we used to rise above it and not get caught up in the rhetoric, and now we're hearing people like Eric Holder who comes along and says, if they go low, we kick them. I mean, granted, it's not as dramatic as some of the things we're hearing from the president, but it feeds right into that mentality.
The difference is that Holder afterwards clarified his comments and said that he did not mean physical violence.
How do you not get physical violence out of that? And I get it. He doesn't really mean it. We all say things we don't really mean. But I'm just saying that we're now stooping to the same level, and that to me is ridiculous.
You make an interesting point, because there's been a lot of talk of, you know, that scene a couple of weeks ago when Ted Cruz and his wife were chased out of that D.C. Restaurant. There were people all over the map on that. I know former Congressman David Jolly said, Rod, when you're a public official, you have to come to expect something like that. Bill Maher, whose show I love, said you shouldn't chase Ted Cruz out of restaurants. You should chase him out of office.
So
correct.
So this is amazing because I'm totally agreeing with Bill Maher, whose show I can't.
I'm writing it down.
Whose show I can't stand.
I'm your witness.
Yep.
October 22.
And I could hardly be more disappointed in David Jolly. I mean, we had him speak at Sarasota Republican Club a couple of years ago, and he seemed like a pretty good conservative and all. And in the age of Trump, he's gone in that never Trumper thing that just goes to derangement. He said that he went further than that in the tweet that I saw of his, because I retweeted it with a comment. He said that they should be doing this. You should expect this as an office holder. You should expect this. And that is way out of line. I don't know what happened to David Jolly's head, but it is not on right anymore. Bill Maher's is screwed on more right.
But getting back to the question about whether the president himself is responsible for at least some of the overheated rhetoric and actions, John Brennan, well, we'll get there. I was going to talk about former CIA director John Brennan, but we'll get to that later. You're right, Rod, that President Trump did not create this kind of talk, but I don't think any president in modern history has gone after political adversaries and the media like this.
Not like this, no, not at all. I mean, for one thing, he's really the first one that had a Twitter account of any real value. And boy, is he not afraid to use it. You know, but you're right. I mean, he does. He goes after him. I mean, he name calls. I've said this a lot of times. This is unbecoming of the president. I don't like this about it. But if I'm weighing it on the scale of what he's accomplished as president and the condition of the country, other than this sort of political discourse issue that we have here, which is definitely a two-edged sword, I think he's actually been a really good president. But I don't like the way he comports himself, you know, and how he communicates with us.
But this is the problem, is that you have somebody who behaves like this, and you say, but I'll put up with it because I appreciate his policies or what he's accomplished. And that's our fault. That's our problem, because it's not acceptable.
Let's pause for a second, because I did want to show you what the former CIA director, John Brennan, said. And to remind folks, CNN got one of those pipe bomb packages yesterday, but it was addressed to John Brennan at CNN.
Donald Trump has not helped to encourage the type of civil discourse and public engagement. And his rhetoric too frequently, I think, fuels these feelings and sentiments that now are bleeding over into potentially acts of violence.
Now, I know you don't like John Brennan, but respond to what he's saying there.
He's wrong. I mean, I don't think that it's Trump's fault. He's wrong because what we're doing is saying that Trump says things that are politically harsh about his opponents, and there's violence out there. Therefore, the violence is Trump's fault. When we had violence that preceded
First of all,
Trump.
that's not what he said. He said he was talking about civil discourse. And if I am going to agree with you on the fact that the pipe bomber is responsible for his own actions, you have to give the president is responsible for his own actions.
And we have to take a pause again. We are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the pipe bomb threats will continue after a quick break, so stay with us.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
I'll be right back.
Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/we believe.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local boys and girls clubs. Great futures start here.
Find out first at 4 on the Suncoast with ABC7 News at 4. ABC7 News at 4 starts with a detailed look at your first alert weather forecast to help you plan and prepare. We give you a fresh, fast-paced rundown of the day's top stories and videos, including breaking news, live updates, and traffic hotspots, all at a new, more convenient time. Find out first at 4, weekdays on ABC7. Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about the increasingly dangerous political climate out there, and we are being joined by Rod Thompson of RevolutionaryAct.com and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. Rod, would you mind if I pick on you a little bit?
Have at it.
Go right ahead.
Because we were talking during the break, and you say that the time that you get pushback from your own party is when you come onto this broadcast and say things about the president. But when you look at you are prolific in terms of the RevolutionaryAct.com and on Twitter these days. You do a lot of calling out of the Democrats, and you know, we got some of them on the screen. You know, about Hillary Clinton, I think. Okay, Hillary and said she won't be civil to a party that is trying to destroy anything that she stands for. Okay, let's look at what the Republicans are doing and see what happens that is destroying. And then also the next one, Democrats are showing their true colors and returning to their roots of racism, division, and violence. But I don't see you calling out Republicans who are saying equally awful things in the public sphere.
All right, so largely I don't see Republicans saying equally awful things. I have a problem with.
Because he's not looking.
I have a problem with the president's rhetoric, and I've said that. I have a problem with his tweets. I have a problem with how he puts things. I have a problem with name calling. Period. I never allowed it with my kids. I don't appreciate it from my president. I don't like any of that at all. But if we're looking at people like Mitch McConnell or Charles Grassley or you know, any of that sort of Republican leadership, I don't see that sort of issue going on.
But by reading your tweets, you're not calling the president out on Twitter. You're not calling him out in your columns on the RevolutionaryAct.com. You're not calling out those crowds who keep on saying lock her up, lock her up.
Oh
lock
yeah,
her up.
that's good stuff. So no, I'm not. I'm not calling them out there.
That's because he's one of them.
That's because. No, but I mean, it's not an unfair criticism. But part of the reason I've given it a lot of thought, you know, as a former journalist, I've given it a lot of thought how much I should try and be balanced with it. And part of my thinking on it, Alan, is that the media and the left media are so consistently doing this that, in a sense, a lot of what I'm doing is providing the other side. Now, that doesn't help the siloing effect. I understand.
But isn't that part of the problem? Because if you only got your news from your Twitter feed or the RevolutionaryAct.com or Fox News, you are seeing...
Or CNN.
Well, let's debate that. But you're only seeing the criticism one way.
Well, and I would like to comment as well, too, because I would not look at it as should I be balanced or not. You're either calling somebody out for poor conduct or you're not. What you shouldn't be doing is giving people a pass because they think like you or they talk like you. That's not a question of being balanced. That's just a question of being right.
So I don't think I'm giving anybody a pass because they think like me or talk like me. What I'm saying is that the president's rhetoric, to me, is of far less importance than his actions as chief executive of the country.
And that's a problem as well, too, because it shouldn't be. It should be one of the same. At least when Obama was in office and he saw that, he called them out on it. And what did he say? Don't boo, vote. I mean, there's a difference. We look to the leader of our country to set the standard, and he sets a horrible standard.
President Trump just said in the speech, I think it was today, he just said that what we don't do is violence. What we do is we beat them at the ballot box. So he was saying the exact same thing. Well, fine. But so if he agrees with Obama, that's a good thing, right?
But it takes him 5 seconds to change that.
But the question is, should we be calling out our own party?
Absolutely.
Yes. You know, let's take a look at something. A couple of weeks ago, the president was here right before the primary in support of Ron DeSantis. We were doing live reports at the rally. Jess, our reporter, was there. This is what happened.
Alan, we're right in the middle of all of it right now.
I was sitting right here.
Right. So what you're saying is there's stupid punk kids out there that see a camera and do idiotic things in front of it. Yes.
Which they've done for a long time.
And yeah, that's always been with us. We're always going to have those jokers out there. I'm not going to attribute that to the president or to a political movement. That is a couple of yo-yos.
Why don't Republicans and Democrats, when they see this kind of language or see this kind of behavior, call it out to make it clear that
let me
it is
let
not
you go for a
acceptable.
little bit on it, because when Nancy Pelosi, right, when she was in Miami, is that right?
Yeah.
And she was, a lot of Republican leaders said this is not acceptable, we should not be doing this. You saw very little of that. Actually, you've seen the opposite from congressional leaders on the Democrat side, when you've had Republicans being ushered out of restaurants, being spit on in movie theaters, being accosted at the airports, in elevators, and on and on and on. You are not seeing it. The few times we've seen it come at Democrats, you've seen conservatives and Republicans say that's not acceptable. I want to see more of that from Democrats, and I think that's fair to ask it.
Well, okay, and you do see it, because I call my party out on this behavior all the time.
Susan, yes, I want to see it from congressional Democrats, though.
Thank you. But what I get in return is a lot of hate spent back my way as well. Of course, the difference is I don't care, because I care more about my party than I do the other party. So I am going to hold them to a higher standard. I want to point out something, and that I think we've lost in this country. During the McCarthy hearings, when he was an attorney named Joe Walsh, challenged McCarthy and said, have you no sense of decency? That was the turning point in the McCarthy hearings, and after that it stopped. It actually meant something. We need to start hearing that more from everyone, not just anyone in particular, but we treat our neighbors poorly now because we don't agree with them politically. We see a sign on the yard, and we get that way.
That very comment from Joe Walsh on the McCarthy thing was actually quoted by conservatives during the Kavanaugh hearings and Christine Blasey Ford's accusations, because they saw the equivalent of the white paper. I hold in my hand this white paper because there was no evidence at all, and we were all supposed to accept it and down this man.
Well,
they saw a parallel there. No, exactly. We don't know.
We don't know.
Here's the question, Rod.
It's a great quote, though.
The president made comments the other day on teleprompter in the East Room, I believe, in which he said we need to change our civil discourse. We need to be one country and debate our differences in a civil fashion. But then he takes to Twitter, calls CNN on the day that these devices are delivered fake news and so forth. Presidents are unique and are in unique positions to have the bully pulpit. Why does he not stand up and say we need to be civil and refrain from the bombs on?
That's why.
Because number one, he can't refrain from Part B.
He can't.
He just can't constitutionally. He cannot. But the fourth estate has a responsibility here too. CNN's been running a headline all day today, and he's not been describing these people that got the bombs as Democrats. They've been describing them in their headlines as Trump targets. That's CNN. That's on CNN. That is totally irresponsible.
You have me at a disadvantage because I have not seen that.
Yeah, I haven't either. But in the same token, they were one of the targets. So
it was John Brennan, who actually works at MSNBC.
Well, yeah, but he was at CNN when the CNN alarms went off. So
no, he wasn't.
No.
But wait, I'm pretty sure I was watching.
Okay. The bomber screwed it up.
The bomber screwed it up. I get that.
Okay,
but
I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't following the bottom line,
and this is our last segment. So, Rod, what is your takeaway? And let's look at this from perspectives that we haven't before. I mean, what would you like to see the president do from here on?
Yeah, I'd like to see the president refrain from Part B, as we were talking about earlier, because he can say the right things so often. The problem is that then, the media or somebody else gets under his skin and he fires off the wrong thing then, and he undercuts himself. Then the media flames up with that. So I would like to see the president restrain himself better. And honestly, by and large, he's been doing better for the last few months, in my opinion. I don't know how long it can last, and it doesn't last constantly. I'd like to see him do better. I'd also like to see the media, and this is still in my wheelhouse, I get it. I'd like to see the media be far more responsible and act more like it did in the 70s than it does now.
And let's give Susan the last word.
I think everybody needs to be held accountable. I think that no matter what level, whether it's a local level, a state, or congressional. I think it's important that we just don't tolerate it anymore. Same thing on social media. You know, it's all fed into the same thing.
And speaking of social media, I hate to belabor this point, but before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about people who are talking about who is responsible for the bombs being mailed to politicians, CNN and Robert De Niro. Shannon says, stop the suspense. Which DNC sponsor got a kickback from Clinton to do this? Well, since the Muslims don't launder as much money through her foundation as they used to, it could have been Soros. Michael says, when you spew hate, President Trump, what do you expect from your hate group followers? They just want to please you. These are sad times because of you. Remember Charlottesville? These are good people on both sides. See what you have created. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast. Rob's head is okay. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. When we return, USF Sarasota Manatee economics instructor Michael Snipes will be here to discuss the lottery. Does he have a foolproof plan on how to win? Stick around for what promises to be a fun segment. Thank goodness.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Mascara adds depth to the eyes. Lipstick gives the mouth color and definition. And ALS paralyzes the body.
You look great, Mom. Thank you.
Slowly taking away the ability to move and eventually breathe.
Teachers inspire our children and promote a lifetime of learning. So ABC7 and Gettle Automotive want to honor these chalkboard champions by giving them the chance to win $500. But we need your help. Go to mysuncoast.com/chalkboardchampions to nominate an outstanding teacher who's really making a difference. And each month we'll deliver $500 to one teacher in Sarasota County and one teacher in Manatee County. Go to mysuncoast.com and nominate your chalkboard champion today.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Welcome back. As you can see, I'm still here. My producer Greg is still producing the show, so we're still here because we didn't win the Mega Millions. One lucky person in South Carolina did win over $1 billion, and USF Sarasota Manatee economics instructor Michael Snipes is here to discuss the lottery. Michael.
Right. So a lot of the times when we hear just how unlikely it is to win the lottery,
a lot of the time they'll use some analogies, right? So you're more likely to get eaten by an alligator in Antarctica than you are to win the lottery. Or you're more likely to be discussing statistics with a former congressional candidate sitting beside your father-in-law while wearing a psychedelic squid hat. You know, they'll come up with all of these absurd examples that will never really happen in real life. And so I thought it might be interesting to take a different perspective as to just how unlikely it really is, right? So the way it works, at least the Mega Millions, is you have 70 balls and you want to pick 5 of those balls. So there's a function from statistics, it's called the choose function, right? That tells you how many different ways you can pick 5 balls from 70 choices. And what that number ends up being is there's 12,607,306 possibilities of picking 5 different combinations from 70 balls, right? But it gets worse than that, right? So not only do you have to match those 5 balls, you also have to match what I'm going to call the bonus ball, and there are 25 of those. So if I want to know, well, what is the total amount of combinations that there are, I have to take this and I have to multiply it by 25. And once we do that, there are a grand total of 302,575,350 different combinations, which again sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But again, I don't think it quite puts into perspective exactly how unlikely it is. When you take this number and you write it as a probability, well, there's a lot of zeros there. There are 8 zeros there. So it's 0.0000033. That is the probability of you actually hitting the jackpot, right? So that's a lot of zeros. That's one way to put it, you're that unlikely to win it. But I think we can go a step further, right? If we play the lottery, how much can we expect to win? Well, we just take the jackpot, multiply it by the probability, and we get an expected value. If I play the if I play the lottery, on average, I can only expect to win $5.29. But we need to go a step further, right? So each one of these lottery tickets costs $2. So if really on average I can only expect to win $5.29 and it's a $2 ticket, on net I can only expect to win $3.29. So you've got this lottery that is worth $1.6 billion that's only worth about $3.30.
Yet, Michael, somebody did win $1.6 billion, which means I could be next. And the Powerball is tonight, folks. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure.
All right. USF Sarasota Manatee economics instructor Michael Snipes joins us every Thursday night to discuss the exciting and electrifying world of economics. When we return, the New York Times is reporting the Chinese and Russians are listening to President Trump on his unsecured iPhone, which he refuses to give up. And Trump responds to the New York Times. But right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
And just to clarify, Powerball is tomorrow, not tomorrow night, but Saturday night. It was last night on Wednesdays and Saturdays, Powerball. There you go. Yeah, I'll make sure you're buying tickets there. Holmes Beach webcam showing a pretty nice day out there. A lot of folks on the beaches, so red tide not too terrible. As I said, it's coming back in patches. And notice the rain showers coming in. And again, darkness not allowing us to see what's happened since then. But radar will let us know as we look at some showers out there approaching the Suncoast, already on the Suncoast and north end of Anna Maria Island. A lot of rainfall around that area of low pressure, which continues to move off to the east-northeast right now. This is the first round of showers that we're dealing with out ahead of the actual cold front, which is still well back to the west of us. That will move through later on tomorrow evening. I mentioned the light rain falling across parts of Anna Maria Island. Also, some of this may not be reaching ground, but we are looking at a few spotty showers, nothing heavy at this point. We take some of that light rain out, and you can still see a few showers near downtown Bradenton, so expect a little bit of light rainfall tonight, nothing heavy. And we'll see a few showers around tomorrow morning just after sunrise. Temperatures on the warm side in the mid-70s. That's well above average. And then we'll warm into the mid-80s despite the presence of some clouds. Now, there may be a little break in the action occasionally, and not everyone's going to be getting the rain in the morning. There'll be scattered showers. Look for a better chance for more clouds, at least, and isolated chance for thunderstorms. I think most of it will be rain, but there'll be a few isolated thunderstorms in the mix as that front moves on through. tomorrow evening. So here's the futurecast showing a little bit of light rainfall around. Again, around 4 o'clock, there's some light rain approaching the Suncoast, and then just after sunrise, a little bit of activity around. It's not going to be an all-day rain event by any stretch, but this line of storms will approach our area later on tomorrow evening. Again, some of that activity could produce an isolated thunderstorm or two. Well, the tropics, the season not over quite yet. We still have a little system out here that has a real good chance of developing into a somewhat tropical storm or tropical system. This front's going to make it, again, move off to the north. It will then bypass it, and you can see some of the forecast models take it up to the north and then to the west once the front gets by it. And then another front, the one that's going to move through us, will pick it up and carry it off into the open waters of the Atlantic. So no concern with that at all. As far as the futurecast goes, we're into this pattern now. We're going to see more and more storms moving on through and swinging cold fronts our way. This one obviously moving through on Friday evening, and then a little reinforcing shot of some cooler air comes late Monday and Tuesday. Not much rain associated with it. And then by next weekend, we'll start to see another low develop here, and this will eventually sweep even a stronger front our way, I believe, and bring us a chance for rainfall a little bit more widespread, I think, on Saturday of next week. So again, this week, a slight chance for a few showers for this Saturday, and then clearing on Sunday. 79 right now, and winds out of the southwest at 6. The high today warmed to 85, and our average high at 83 degrees. We'll be below those numbers on Saturday and even on Sunday. You can see some bigger cells out here with the actual cold front well out to the west of us, several hundred miles into the central Gulf of Mexico. We'll keep an eye on that. As I said, I don't think we're going to see any severe weather here, but there's a chance we could see some thunderstorms. Southwest winds will pick up throughout the day. Seas running pretty high, 3 to 5 foot seas expected in the bays and inland waters. And the chance of rain continues Friday night, and then Saturday morning a few showers. Some clouds around, clearing. Looks great on Sunday, doesn't it? 78. Halloween, not too bad, a little bit on the warm side, but that's fairly average for this time of year, right around 83 degrees. Alan will be back right after this.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gatto's got it.
I feel happiest when I'm out enjoying my favorite things, like spending time in my garden. That's why I need a Humana Medicare Advantage plan.
Many Humana Medicare Advantage plans cover everything from emergency care and hospital stays to doctor office visits and prescription drug coverage. In fact, last year, Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan members saved an estimated $6,900 on average on their prescription costs. Humana has a large network of doctors and hospitals, plans that include vision and dental coverage, and most plans include Silver Sneakers Fitness and a rewards program, all for a $0 monthly plan premium in most areas.
Now I can be happy and healthy and keep enjoying all of my favorite things.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide and see how a Humana Medicare Advantage plan can help keep you enjoying your favorite things.
When the call comes in, it's time to go to work. We'll respond first, but FBL is right there with us.
You really never know what you're going to pull up on. You don't know what type of call you're going to have. You don't know, once you get to that call, what you're going to encounter.
Whether it's a big storm, it could be a house fire. You must be ready at all times.
We're always happy to see FPL. It's pretty much a team effort. Everybody has a job to do.
We know we can count on them. They'll be there, and so will we.
Where to go and what to do in Birmingham, Alabama. Personalized just for you. Find your sweet spots at alabama.travel/sweetspot.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4, weekdays on ABC7.
Checking primetime headlines, the New York Times is reporting the Chinese and Russians are spying on President Trump's cell phone conversations. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is at the White House and tells us what the president is saying.
President Trump blamed the media on Twitter for the current political climate just a day after suspected bombs were addressed to prominent Democrats who are also subjects of his own attacks. But today, the president went after the New York Times after they published a report on his cell phone use. When President Trump calls his friends, the New York Times is reporting that the Chinese and Russians are listening. The New York Times report says American intelligence records indicate that Chinese spies are gaining invaluable insights into how to best work the president and affect administration policy. Politico has also reported that the president resists efforts to swap out his phone on a monthly basis because it's inconvenient. The president says, no way. Today tweeting, the New York Times has a new fake story that now the Russians and Chinese, glad they finally added China, are listening to all of my calls on cell phones, except that I rarely use a cell phone, and when I do, it's government authorized. I like hardlines, just more made up fake news. When White House administration officials were questioned about the president's security features on his phone back in May, the White House told ABC News they are confident in the security protocols in place for the president's use of communication devices. The White House won't say how frequently the president rotates his devices, but they say it happens regularly. At the White House, Stephanie Ramos, ABC News.
The chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee wants the Justice Department to investigate one of Justice Brett Kavanaugh's accusers. Today, Senator Chuck Grassley referred Julie Swetnick and her lawyer Michael Avenatti to the DOJ for possible criminal investigation. He wants an investigation into whether allegations Swetnick and Avenatti made to Congress about Kavanaugh are false. Swetnick alleges Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge were present at a party where she was drug and gang raped. Her statement was submitted to the Judiciary Committee last month. She did not identify either man as her attacker in the statement. Both have denied the allegations. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.